It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the official launch of the Lateef Jakande Leadership Academy. So I warmly welcome Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, the Deputy Governor, Dr. Obafemi Hamzat. I would like to welcome Alaja Jakande specially to this event, and the entire family who came along with her today, marking the second remembrance of the passing of late Alaji Jakande. So please permit me to rest on existing protocol at this point. I think many of you will recall that in February 2021, Mr. Governor made a public pronouncement on the establishment of the Leadership Academy in memory of the first civilian governor of Lagos State, late Alhaji Lateef Jakande, to immortalize the legacy of purposeful, deliberate leadership which he represents. So it is with pride that today's event marks the culmination of many, many months of planning and the practical realization of that policy statement which has given birth to this academy. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the underlying principles of the academy is to offer opportunities to young Nigerians under the age of 35 who aspire for future public leadership positions in order to serve their nation and impact their generation. The academy is positioned to develop these young leaders for public service and for governance by equipping them with the requisite knowledge, skills, abilities for purposeful leadership through service delivery, mentorship, and, of course, hands-on involvement in policy making at the highest level of state governance. So it's been a very, very long process, and I'm sure the 30 finalists sitting here will attest to the fact that it was a grueling process. We started off with 3,313 applications, and they passed through a very rigorous, merit-driven selection process, which included a computer-based test, a full-day assessment center that was able to allow observers to observe their leadership competencies. They had presentations, they had case studies, and at the end of the day, we had 36 young people coming out of that process. They had interviews with our ministry staff, they had interviews with academy staff, and lastly, they all had interviews with Mr. Governor himself. And we came out with 30 young leaders at the end of that process. Mr. Governor didn't spare any expense for this academy. We partnered with Lagos Business School, professor from University of Cambridge, and experts in leadership in Nigeria to develop this curriculum that they'll be going through over the next 1 year. The 1-year fellowship will offer them career and life-changing experiences, as each of them will be called to shadow Lagos State Executive Council members and also permanent secretaries on a 3-month rotational period in order to expose them to leadership philosophy of Lateef Jakande and also to governance at the highest level. Other benefits will include engagement in community projects, one-on-one leadership coaching, mentorship, direct mentorship from renowned public and private sector leaders. They'll visit local government areas and also LCDAs. It is expected that at the end of this program, fellows would have acquired the needed skills and competencies to have positive impact in governance and public leadership. I'd like to take this opportunity to also thank the Jakande family for giving us this opportunity to spend part of today with them. They started the day with prayers. And we're taking the next few hours to commemorate the second year remembrance of their father. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank them for nominating our first governing council member in the person of Dr. Adeboye, the daughter to Alhaji Jakande. So please permit me to just tell the fellows a little bit about the leaders that they're going to be working with over the next 1 year. And I think a lot of us fail to do this often enough. I think I told you a couple of weeks ago when I was telling you about Mr. Governor and Mr. Deputy Governor that you wouldn't find any better duo to work under. And for the people that know me, some of them know my trajectory. I've spent 13 years working, 10 of those in the private sector, working with fast-paced multinationals. The next 14 years working as a consultant to multinationals. So I've worked with leaders from all over the world, Australia, Asia, Europe, and I can testify that Mr. Governor and Mr. Deputy Governor are two of the best leaders that I have personally ever worked with. Not only are they visionary, but as we can all see, they also deliver results. In the last 3 years, half of which was to battle COVID, so much has been done. I'll just mention the ones that are so close to my heart and the ones that I think are extremely exciting for Lagos as a whole. The first one is the blue line and also the red line, 2 rail lines, which I believe are almost like a testimony and a fulfillment of the vision that late Alhaji Jakande had when he started the metro project that was later cancelled. Those 2 rail lines, when they become fully operational, will transport over 10,000 passengers per hour from Okokomaiko, Agbado to Marina, 10,000 per hour when it becomes fully operational later on this year. I'm not sure we understand the impact that will have on the roads right now. And it will cut down a journey of 3-4 hours to less than 30 minutes, end to end. So we're extremely proud of projects like that. We're proud of the rice mill, the largest rice mill in Africa. We're proud of the deep sea ports, the deepest sea ports in this region that will make Lagos a veritable hub for trade and commerce in the years to come. We're proud of the 1,000 high-capacity buses that Mr. Governor added to the fleet in Lagos State, of the 1,000 last-mile buses that he added to the fleet in Lagos State, of the 1,200 lag ride e-hailing taxis that he added to the fleet in Lagos State. We're also proud of the legacies that he's made in education. Over 1,097 schools have been refurbished in the last 3 years. Again, for those who know that Lateef Jakande education is one of the things that we all know him for. 1,997 schools renovated, and also 18,000 teachers have been trained over the course of the last 2 years. Primary school teachers, each one of them being given tablets for all their curriculum. 18,000. Every single primary school teacher in Lagos State has a tablet today to teach from. And that's really evidence for us in this GCE results. When Mr. Governor took over in 2020, the results were just 38% for Lagos State public schools. By last year, it has increased from 38% to 78-80%. GCE 5 credits. We're proud of the housing units that have been added to the stock of housing units in Lagos State. And we're also proud that Lagos State is becoming a smart city. 2,800 kilometers of fiber optic cable has been laid across Lagos. We are proud of all these things. But I think one thing that people don't hear enough of is the fact that we're working with very empathetic leaders. Mr. Governor is very empathetic. And I think I speak on behalf of the entire EXCO to state that, yes, he cares about his staff and he also cares about the people who work with him. He is youth-centric. 3 people work with him under the age of 40. on Exco, Commissioner for Finance, Commissioner for Agriculture, and also SA Science and Innovation. Mr. Governor allows us to fly. As his commissioners, he enables us and he empowers us to do what we ought to do. He has a participatory governing style. So I'm happy to be here to let you know that you couldn't have two better people to mentor you over the course of the next 1 year in this fellowship. So, Mr. Governor, we'd like to thank you. We appreciate you for this very noble initiative. And we thank you for your continued commitment to youth participation and leadership. Your pioneering contributions and support to the state's efforts to advance good governance, gender equality, and youth development are exemplified by the creation of this fellowship. I'd like to congratulate the cohort once more. Please stand up for recognition. Men and women, all under 35, and you'll get to see them one by one shortly. Thank you very much. Welcome on board this transformational life journey. And I'd like to welcome each and every one of us, all distinguished personalities, once again, to this event. Thank you very much for your attention.